Hello students and welcome to Social Science 2024 Solved Question Paper with Kunal Kohli. Section A, MCQs, multiple choice questions. Question 1. Assertion A. Banks are not ready to lend money to certain borrowers. Reason R. Some people do not have collateral. Options. A. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true, but R is false. D. A is false, but R is true. Correct option A. On which of the following bases does the United Nations Development Programme UNDP publish the Human Development Report? A. Manufacturing, infrastructure, and health. B. Education, health, and per capita income. C. National income, health, and banking. Or D. Gross domestic product, technology, and innovation. The correct option is B. Question 3. Which of the following statements best describes the meaning of globalization? A. Removal of tax barriers on trade. B. Providing higher standards of living. C. Process of rapid integration between countries. D. Taking special steps to attract foreign companies. Correct option C. Question number 4. Assertion A. No individual in India can legally refuse a payment made in rupees. Reason R. In India, the rupee is authorized by the state governments. Your options are A. Both A and R are true, but R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true, but R is false. Or D. A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is option C. Question 5. Read the following situation regarding credit and identify the positive impact of credit. Salim obtains credit to meet the working capital needs of production. The credit helps him to meet the ongoing expenses and complete production on time. Impacts A. The burden of credit will increase on Salim. B. Salim's income will increase. C. The production will decrease. D. Salim may get stuck in a debt trap. Correct answer is option B. Salim's income will increase. Question 6. Read the following characteristics of democracy and choose the correct option. 1. Fair and free elections. 2. Equality before law. 3. Dignity of a person. 4. Majority rule. Options. A. Only 1, 2, and 3 are correct. Option B. Only 2, 3, and 4 are correct. Option C. 1, 2, and 4 are correct. Option D. 1, 3, and 4 are correct. The correct answer is option A. Only 1, 2, and 3 are correct. Question 7. In which of the following regions was women representation the highest in their respective national parliaments 2018? A. Nordic countries. B. America, North and South. C. Europe. D. Asia. The correct answer is option A. Nordic countries. Question 8. Which of the following countries has a two-party system? A. China. B. Pakistan. C. United States of America. D. France. Correct option? Option C. United States of America. 9. Assertion A. Modern democracy cannot function without political parties. Reason R. Elected representatives will be accountable only to their constituencies, not towards the country. Options. A. A is true but R is false. B. A is false but R is true. C. Both A and A are true and R is the correct explanation of A. D. Both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. Correct option is A. 10. In which of the following institutions in India was a system of reservation for women made by amending the constitution in 1992? A. Lok Sabha. B. Rajya Sabha. C. Legislative Council. D. Panchayat. Correct option D. Panchayat. 11. Education falls under which of the following lists given in the Indian Constitution? A. Union list. B. State list. C. Concurrent list. D. Residuary subjects. Correct option C. Concurrent list. 12. Read the arguments given in the favor of power sharing and choose the correct option. 1. Reduces the likelihood of bias. 2. Barricades the decision-making process. 3. Accommodates diversities. 4. Increases the participation of people in power. Options. A. Only 1, 2 and 3 are correct. B. Only 2, 3 and 4 are correct. C. Only 1, 3 and 4 are correct. D. Only 1, 2 and 4 are correct. The correct option is C. Only 1, 3 and 4 are correct. Question 13. Choose the correct option for the following states' share in percentage in the production of manganese in India from the highest to the lowest order. A. Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Odisha. B. Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, Karnataka. C. Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Odisha. D. Maharashtra, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka. Correct option is B. 14. Match column 1 with column 2 and choose the correct option. Column 1 dams, column 2 rivers. 1. Sardar Sarovar. 2. Hirakud. 3. Bhakranangal. 4. Nagarjun Sagar. A. Satluj. B. Krishna. C. Narmada. D. Mahanadi. Options A. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D. B. 1B, 2A, 3D, 4C. C. 1C, 2D, 3B, 4A. D. 1C, 2D, 3A, 4B. Correct option is D. 1C, 2D, 3A, 4B. 15. Assertion A. The famous Chipko movement in the Himalayas successfully resisted deforestation in several areas. Reason are, through this community afforestation campaign, afforestation. Reason are, through this community afforestation campaigns with indigenous species was made enormously successful. Options. A. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. C. A is true, but R is false. D. A is false, but R is true. Correct option A. 16. Please note visually impaired question in lieu of picture. Which of the following sectors has the maximum share in GDP of India? A. Primary. B. Secondary. C. Tertiary. D. Quaternary. Correct option is C. Question 17. Who among the following said, printing is the ultimate gift of God and the greatest one? A. Martin Luther. B. Mahatma Gandhi. C. Johannes Gutenberg. D. Rashundri Devi. Correct option A. Question 18. Choose the correct option related to the founders of the Swaraj Party within the Congress. A. Subhash Chandra Bose and Jawaharlal Nehru. B. Acharya Kriplani and Jayaprakash Narayan. C. C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. D. Mahatma Gandhi and Sardar Patel. Correct option is C. C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. 19. Choose the correct option to fill in the blank. Dash from India and Southeast Asia traveled through Silk Route to other parts of the world. A. Gold and silver ornaments. B. Clothes and species. C. Grain and pulses. D. Iron and other metals. The correct option is B. Clothes and spices. 20. Arrange the following incidents in chronological order and choose the correct option. 1. French Revolution. 2. Napoleon's invasion of Italy. 3. Unification of Italy. 4. Vienna Peace Treaty. Options A. 1, 2, 4, 3. B. 2, 4, 1, 3. C. 1, 4, 2, 3. D. 1, 3, 2, 4. Correct option A. 1, 2, 4, 3. Section B. Very short answer type questions. 21A. Examine the role of the Constitution in the federal system of India in 2 points. Answer. Concept clarification. In a federal system, powers are divided between a central authority and state governments so that both levels can work in their own fields. The Constitution of India clearly lists subjects for the Union and the states and also provides ways to settle disputes between them. This written document is the supreme law which guides how the federation will work. Explanation. The Constitution clearly divides powers between the Union and state governments through the Union list, state list, and concurrent list so that each level knows its own area of work. The Constitution is supreme and binding on both levels of government, so it acts as a common rule book that maintains unity while allowing diversity in India. 21b. Examine the role of Supreme Court in the federal system of India in 2 points. Answer, concept clarification. In a federal system, an independent judiciary is needed to protect the division of powers and to settle disputes between different levels of government. The Supreme Court is the highest court in India and interprets the Constitution. It is the guardian of the fundamental rights and the federal balance. Explanation. 1. The Supreme Court settles disputes between the union and state governments and between different states so that conflicts in the federal system are resolved peacefully. 2. The Supreme Court interprets the Constitution and can declare any law made by Parliament or state legislators invalid if it goes against the Constitution, thus protecting the federal division of powers. 3. India has great potential of wind and power generation. Explain the statement in context of wind energy. Answer, concept clarification. Wind energy is the energy obtained from moving air by using windmills or wind turbines to generate electricity. India has long coastlines and some areas with high wind speeds where such projects can be set up. Therefore, wind power can be an important non-conventional source of energy for the country. Explanation. 1. India has a long coastline, especially in states like Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, where strong and steady winds blow for most parts of the year, which is suitable for wind power projects. Many plateaus and hilltops in India also have high wind speeds, so large wind farms can be developed at several locations to generate electricity. Wind energy is a renewable and pollution-free source of power, so India can use this potential to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and protect the environment. Until the 19th century, poverty and hunger were common in Europe. Analyze the statement. Answer, concept clarification. Before the spread of modern industrialization and improvements in agriculture, Europe had frequent crop failures and low productivity. Transport was poor, so food could not easily move from surplus to deficit areas. As a result, many people did not get enough food and lived in poverty. Explanation. 1. Agricultural productivity in Europe was low because old methods of farming were used and there was heavy dependence on weather, so bad harvests often led to food shortages. 2. Means of transport were not well developed, so food grains from surplus regions could not quickly reach the regions facing scarcity, which increased hunger. 3. Because of repeated food scarcity and lack of regular work, large sections of the population remained undernourished and poor till the 19th century. Explain the steps taken by the Indian government for globalization in 1991. Answer, concept clarification. Globalization means increasing connections between countries through trade, investment, movement of people and technology. In 1991, India faced an economic crisis and started economic reforms to open the economy. These reforms aim to increase foreign trade and investment and reduce government control. Explanation. 1. The government removed many trade barriers by reducing import duties and quotas so that foreign goods could be brought into India more easily and Indian producers could also trade more with other countries. 2. Rules for foreign investment were relaxed and foreign companies were allowed to set up factories and offices in India in many sectors so that more foreign capital and technology could come into India. 3. The policy of liberalization reduced government control over industries such as licensing requirements so that private and foreign companies could work more freely and link India with the world economy. Now we move on to Section C, short answer type question. 25. Federal form of government is in direct contrast to the unitary form of government. Explain the statement. Answer and concept clarification. In a federal government, power is divided between a central authority and various state or regional governments, and both levels are independent in their own fields. In a unitary government, all powers are concentrated in the central government and local bodies may work mainly as its agents. Thus, the two systems differ in the way power is shared. Explanation. In a federal government, the constitution divides powers between national and state governments, whereas in a unitary government, the central government can give or take powers back from local bodies. 2. In a federal system, state governments have their own powers and cannot be removed by the central government, but in a unitary system, the central government is supreme and can change powers of provinces. 3. Federal governments are suitable for large countries with diversities because they allow sharing of power, while unitary governments suit smaller or more homogeneous countries where central control is easier. 4. Describe any three features of intensive subsistence farming. Answer, concept clarification. Intensive subsistence farming is a type of agriculture where small plots of land are cultivated with a lot of labor and inputs, mainly to produce food for the farmer's family. This type is common in densely populated countries like India. Farmers often try to get the maximum possible output from limited land. Explanation. It is practiced on small holdings where farmers use family labor intensively to produce more crops from a small area of land. Farmers often grow more than one crop in a year on the same land through multiple cropping and use high doses of fertilizers and irrigation to increase production. The main aim is subsistence, that is, to produce food grain mainly for the farmer's own family with little surplus left for the market. Analyze the role of political parties in making laws in India. Answer, concept clarification. Political parties are organized groups that contest elections, form governments, and represent different views and interests in a democracy. In India, most laws in the legislature are proposed, discussed, and finally passed under the guidance of political parties. Parties guide how their members vote on bills. Explanation. Political parties that form the government take the lead in introducing new bills and policies in the legislature, which later become laws after discussion and approval. Parties issue directions to their members of parliament and members of legislative assemblies about how to vote on different bills so that laws reflect the programs and promises of the party. Opposition parties examine, criticize, and suggest changes in proposed laws so that different viewpoints are considered before a law is finally passed. How did belonging to different communities, religions, or language groups develop a sense of collective belonging in the national movement? Explain with examples. Answer, concept clarification. A sense of collective belonging means feeling that all people of a country are part of one common nation. During the national movement in India, leaders and writers tried to create such feelings by using common symbols, history, and cultural ideas. This helped people from different regions and communities to unite. Explanation. Leaders used the image of Bharat Mata in paintings and posters to represent India as a mother, so that people from different regions could feel devotion to a common national figure. Nationalists wrote about a shared ancient past and common cultural heritage of India, which gave people a feeling that they had a long history as one nation. The spread of nationalist songs, folklore, and ideas through novels, newspapers, and public meetings helped different language and religious groups to imagine themselves as part of one Indian community. Common struggles against colonial parties such as non-cooperation and civil disobedience movements brought together peasants, workers, and middle-class people from many regions in joint action, strengthening collective belonging. 28b. Workers had their own understanding of Mahatma Gandhi and the notion of Swaraj. Explain the statement with examples. Answer, concept clarification. Swaraj means self-rule or independence from foreign control, but different groups understood it in their own way. Industrial workers in towns linked Swaraj not only with political freedom from British rule, but also with better living and working conditions. Their interpretation reflected their daily problems. Explanation. 1. In many industrial centers, workers took part in hartals and demonstrations, seeing Mahatma Gandhi as a leader who fought against injustice and hoped that Swaraj would improve their working life. 2. For workers, Swaraj also meant reduction of working hours, better wages, and more respect from employers, which shows they connected national freedom with economic and social justice. 3. Some workers participated in boycott of foreign cloth and other goods, believing that supporting Indian industries was part of the struggle for Swaraj. 4. Their expectations from Swaraj were therefore broader than only the end of British rule and included hopes of dignity and improved conditions in factories. 5. Money in your pocket cannot buy all the goods and services that you may need to live well. Support the statement with example, answer, and clarification. Income and money are important for buying many goods and services needed for life, like food, clothes, and houses. However, some important things such as good health, facilities, clean environment, peace, and freedom cannot be bought directly with money. They are provided through community and public arrangements. Explanation. 1. Even a rich person cannot simply buy a pollution-free environment or fresh air if the surroundings are badly polluted, because such conditions depend on collective decisions and public action. 2. Good schooling and health facilities depend on the availability and quality of schools and hospitals in the area, not only on how much money an individual has. 3. Respect, security, and freedom in society, such as being treated equally and having protection from crime, are non-material things that money alone cannot ensure. Section D, long answer type questions. 30A. The mission and destiny of the French nation was to liberate the peoples of Europe. Support the statement in context of impact of the French Revolution. Answer and concept clarification. The French Revolution of 1789 challenged the absolute monarchy and privileges of clergy and nobility, and proclaimed principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. French revolutionaries believed that these ideas should not remain limited to France, but should spread to other parts of Europe. In this way, they saw it as their mission to free other peoples from despotism. Explanation. 1. The ideas of the French Revolution inspired people in many European countries to fight against absolute monarchies and demand constitutional governments. 2. Revolutionary armies of France moved into neighboring countries and claimed that they were bringing freedom and ending the old feudal order in those regions. 3. The French introduced laws that ended feudal privileges, reduced the power of the church, and promoted equality before law in the territories they occupied. 4. The spread of the tricolour and symbols like liberty and the republic encouraged patriots in other lands to think of their own nations based on citizens' rights. Secret societies and revolutionary groups in places like Italy and Germany were influenced by French ideals and worked to build nation-states in their own regions. Thus, the French Revolution acted as a model and gave confidence to oppressed peoples in Europe that change and liberation from old regimes was possible. 30b. In the administrative field, Napoleon had incorporated revolutionary principles. Explain the statement. Answer. Concept clarification. Napoleon Bonaparte became the ruler of France after the revolution, but did not fully return to old absolutist ways. In administration, he introduced laws and measures that continued many revolutionary ideas such as equality before law and protection of property. These reforms influenced much of Europe. Explanation. Napoleon introduced the Civil Code of 1804, also called the Napoleonic Code, which established equality before law and secured the right to property, ending many feudal privileges. He simplified the administrative divisions, abolished feudal dues, and standardized laws which made governance more efficient and based on uniform rules. The code removed birth-based privileges of the nobility and allowed people from different social backgrounds to rise based on talent and ability. He reformed the tax system so that all citizens had to pay taxes, which was in line with the revolutionary idea that no group should enjoy special exemptions. Napoleon introduced a uniform system of weights and measures and improved transport and communications, which helped trade and economic growth. These administrative changes, though made by a strong ruler, carried forward the revolutionary principles of equality, merit, and uniformity in law across his empire. There is the need for protection and support of the workers in the unorganized sector. Examine the statement with examples. Answer, concept clarification. The unorganized sector includes small and scattered units where rules and regulations of the government are not followed properly. Workers here often have low wages, no job security, and no social benefits. Therefore, they need special protection and support from the government. Explanation. Workers in the unorganized sector usually get very low and irregular wages. So protection is needed to ensure that they receive at least the minimum wages fixed by the government. Many such workers have no job security, no paid leave, and no medical benefits, which make their life very insecure in case of illness or old age. Unorganized workers often work in unsafe conditions such as construction sites or small factories, so support is required to improve working conditions and safety norms. Government can provide support through laws on minimum wages, regulation of working hours, and schemes like health insurance and old age pensions for these workers. Special attention is needed for women, children, and migrant workers in the unorganized sector because they are more vulnerable to exploitation. By giving protection and support, the government can reduce poverty and inequality among workers and improve their standard of living. 31B. Activities in the private sector are guided by the motive to earn profits. Examine the statement with examples. Answer and concept clarification. The private sector consists of businesses owned by individuals or groups of people. These units invest their own money and therefore focus mainly on earning profits. Their decisions about production, prices, and wages are strongly influenced by this profit. Motive. Explanation. Private companies usually set up industries and services mainly where they expect good profits, such as producing popular consumer goods or providing profitable services like private coaching. In order to increase profits, private sector firms may try to reduce costs by cutting wages, hiring fewer workers, or not spending enough on safety and welfare. 3. Public transport operators often run more vehicles on busy and profitable routes, but may ignore remote or less profitable areas because they do not bring enough income. 4. Since profit is the main motive, private sector may not take up activities like providing primary healthcare in rural areas, which are necessary but not very profitable. 5. However, the profit motive can also lead to better quality and variety of goods and services as firms compete with each other to attract more customers. 6. Thus, while the private sector plays an important role in the economy, its decisions are mainly guided by the aim to earn profits rather than social welfare. Democracy stands ahead of any other form of government in promoting dignity and freedom of the individual. Explain the statement with examples. Answer, concept clarification. Democracy is a form of government where rulers are elected by the people and must work according to rules and rights given by the Constitution. One important outcome of democracy is that it respects the dignity and freedom of each person. People can express their opinions, organize protests, and demand equal treatment. Explanation. 1. Democracy is based on political equality where each adult citizen has one vote and one value, which gives dignity to every individual, including those from weaker sections. 2. In a democratic country, women and disadvantaged groups can raise their voice and fight for equal status through movements and legal changes, which increases their self-respect. 3. Democracy allows people to criticize the government and express their views freely through media, meetings, and organizations, which protects their freedom of expression. 4. In a democracy, people cannot be arrested or punished without proper legal procedures, and fundamental rights protect them from arbitrary actions of the government. Examples like the struggle for equal rights by women, Dalits, and other marginalized communities show how democracy has improved their dignity over time. Even when democracy has shortcomings, it gives space to correct mistakes through elections, judicial review, and public pressure, which safeguards individual freedom. 32B. A distinctive feature of democracy is that its inspection and examination never gets over. Explain the statement with examples. Answer: concept clarification. Democracy is a system where people can constantly question and evaluate how the government works. There is freedom of expression, independent media, and active civil society. Because of this, democratic governments are always under public scrutiny and can be changed through elections. Explanation. In a democracy, citizens, media, and opposition parties can continuously ask questions, criticize policies, and demand explanations from those in power. So, government actions are always being examined. Regular, free, and fair elections give people a chance to change the government if they're not satisfied with its performance, which acts like a continual test for rulers. Courts and independent bodies can review government decisions and laws and can strike them down if they violate the Constitution, which is another form of inspection. Social movements and organizations of workers, farmers, women, and others keep raising new issues such as corruption, environment, and rights, forcing democratic governments to respond. Because democracy allows open debate and transparency, information about government decisions is available to people, which makes careful examination possible at all times. Thus, unlike dictatorships, where questioning is suppressed, democracy continuously faces criticism and evaluation, which is one of its strengths. Describe the role of manufacturing industries in the economic development of a country. Answer: concept clarification. Manufacturing industries convert raw materials into finished goods or higher values, such as turning cotton into cloth or iron ore into machinery. This process creates jobs, raises incomes, and supports many other sectors. Therefore, industrialization is seen as an important base for economic development. Explanation. Manufacturing industries help in value addition by changing raw materials into finished products, which increases the income of the country. 2. They create large-scale employment opportunities for skilled and unskilled workers, which helps to reduce unemployment and poverty. Industrial growth. 3. Industrial growth supports the development of agriculture by producing fertilizers, tools, machinery, and agro-based industries, thus strengthening linkages between sectors. 4. Industries encourage the growth of transport, communication, and banking because these services are needed to move raw material and finished goods. 5. A strong industrial base helps a country to reduce imports of manufactured goods and increase exports, thus improving foreign exchange earnings. 6. Industrial development leads to the growth of towns and cities and promotes overall modernization of the economy and improvement in standard of living. 33b. Describe any 5 steps taken to control industrial pollution of fresh water. Answer: concept clarification. Industrial pollution of fresh water occurs when factories discharge harmful waste into rivers, lakes, or underground water. These pollutants make water unfit for drinking, irrigation, and aquatic life. To protect water resources, several control measures are needed at different stages of industrial activity. Explanation. 1. Industries should pre-treat their waste to remove harmful pollutants before discharging them into rivers, lakes, or sewers so that the water bodies are not directly contaminated. 2. Effluent treatment plants should be installed in industrial units to recycle and reuse water, which reduces the total volume of polluted discharge. 3. Use of modern techniques like rainwater harvesting and minimizing the use of water in production processes helps to reduce water pollution. 4. Government should strictly enforce laws that prohibit dumping of untreated industrial effluents into water bodies and impose penalties on violators. 5. Location of industry should be planned carefully, avoiding banks of rivers and reservoirs that supply drinking water. 6. Awareness among industrialists and workers about the harmful effects of water pollution can encourage cleaner production and adoption of eco-friendly technologies. Section E. Case-based, source-based questions. 34. Read the given source and answer the questions that follow. Loans from cooperatives besides banks. The other major source of cheap credit in rural areas are the cooperative societies or cooperatives. Members of a cooperative pool their resources for cooperation in certain areas. There are several types of cooperatives possible, such as farmers' cooperatives, weavers' cooperatives, and industrial workers' cooperatives, etc. Krishak cooperative functions in a village not very far away from Sonpur. It has 2,300 farmers as members. It accepts deposits from its members. With these deposits as collateral, the cooperative has obtained a large loan from the bank. These funds are used to provide loans to members. Once these loans are repaid, another round of lending can take place. Krishak Cooperative provides loans for the purchase of agricultural implements, loans for cultivation and agricultural trade, fishery loans, loans for construction of houses, and for a variety of other expenses. Cooperative society is an example for which source of credit? Answer: concept clarification. In an economy, people can borrow from formal sources like banks, cooperatives, or from informal sources like money lenders and traders. Formal sources are supervised by authorities and usually charge reasonable interest and follow rules. Cooperatives belong to this organized group. Explanation. A cooperative society is an example of a formal source of credit. It works under rules and supervision and provides relatively cheap loans to its members. 34.2. Explain the contribution of cooperative societies in rural development. Answer: concept clarification. Rural development means improving the economic and social conditions of people living in villages. Cooperative societies help farmers and other villagers by giving them easier access to credit and other services. This support can increase production and improve their standard of living. Explanation. Cooperatives provide cheap and timely loans to farmers for buying seeds, fertilizers, and implements, which helps to increase agricultural production. They protect members from dependence on money lenders, thus reducing the chances of falling into a debt trap and helping in overall rural development. 34.3. Mention any two sources of capital for self-help groups. Answer: concept clarification. Self-help groups, SHGs, are small groups of poor people, especially women, who pool their savings and give loans to members. To increase their lending capacity, they also access funds from outside. These funds together become the capital that the group can use. Explanation. One source of capital for SHGs is the regular small savings of the members. Another source of capital is bank loans that SHGs can obtain in the name of the group. Read the given source below and answer the following questions. After the revolt of 1857, the attitude to freedom of the press changed. Enraged Englishmen demanded a clampdown on the native press. As vernacular newspapers became assertively nationalist, the colonial government began debating measures of stringent control. In 1878, the Vernacular Press Act was passed, modelled on the Irish press laws. It provided the government with extensive rights to censor reports and editorials in the vernacular press. From now on, the government kept regular track of the vernacular newspapers published in different provinces. When a report was judged aciditious, the newspaper was warned, and if the warning was ignored, the press was liable to be seized and the printing machinery confiscated. Now the questions. 35.1. On which rule was the Vernacular Press Act based? The Vernacular Press Act was a law passed by the British in India to control newspapers published in Indian languages. The idea came from similar laws that the British had already used in other parts of their empire. These laws gave wide powers to the government to censor and punish the press. Explanation. The Vernacular Press Act was based on the Irish press laws. 2. These laws were used as a model to give similar powers of censorship in India. Why did the attitude of the British change towards the freedom of press after the revolt of 1857? Explain. Before 1857, the British were somewhat more tolerant of discussion in the Indian press. However, after the revolt of 1857, they became suspicious of any form of criticism or nationalist feelings. They feared that newspapers could spread ideas that might lead to more rebellions. Explanation. 1. After the revolt of 1857, the British felt that the native press could spread nationalist ideas and criticism of the government, which might create unrest. 2. As vernacular newspapers became more assertive and nationalist, the British wanted to tightly control them to prevent the spread of anti-colonial feelings. 35.3. Explain any two impacts of passing the Vernacular Press Act. The Vernacular Press Act was meant to restrict freedom of Indian language newspapers. It allowed the government to warn, censor, and even shut down presses. This had a strong effect on how newspapers worked and how nationalists responded. Explanation 1. The Act allowed the government to censor reports and editorials in vernacular newspapers and to seize their printing presses if they were considered seditious, which reduced press freedom. At the same time, the harshness of the Act created anger among Indian nationalists and made them more determined to defend the freedom of the press. Read the given source and answer the questions that follow. Conservation of resources. Resources are vital for any developmental activity, but irrational consumption and overutilization of resources may lead to socio-economic and environmental problems. To overcome these problems, resource conservation at various levels is important. This had been the main concern of the leaders and thinkers in the past. For example, Gandhiji was very apt in voicing his concern about resource conservation in these words: "There is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed." He placed the greedy and selfish individuals and exploitative nature of modern technology as the root cause for resource depletion at the global level. He was against mass production and wanted to replace it with the production by the masses. Define the term resource planning. Resources are things that satisfy human needs like land, water, minerals, and forest. Resource planning is a method by which a country decides how to use these resources wisely. It aims at balance and sustainable use over time and across regions. Explanation 1. Resource planning is the strategy for judicious use of resources. 2. It involves identifying resources, assessing them, and making plans for their proper use. 36.2. Explain the need for conservation of resources. Conservation of resources means using resources carefully and avoiding waste so that they are available for present and future generations. Overuse and misuse of resources create problems like depletion, pollution, and social inequalities. Therefore, resources must be conserved. Explanation 1. If resources are used irrationally and excessively, many of them may get depleted, leaving little for future generations. 2. Overutilization of resources can cause environmental problems such as land degradation and pollution, which harm human life and development. 36.3. Why did Gandhiji say there is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed? Analyze any two reasons. Gandhiji believed that nature has provided enough resources to meet the basic needs of all people. However, when some individuals become greedy and use more than their share, scarcity and inequality appear. He linked this greed with modern industrial technology that exploits nature. Explanation 1. Gandhiji felt that if people limited their use of resources to their genuine needs, there would be enough for everyone. But greed leads to overuse and depletion of resources. 2. He believed that selfish individuals and exploitative modern technology were responsible for resource depletion and growing inequalities between people. Section F. Map skill-based questions for visually impaired candidates. Attempt any 5. 37.1. Name the place where Gandhiji started Satyagraha for indigo peasants. Answer. So Gandhiji started Satyagraha for indigo peasants at Champaran in Bihar. Name the place where Gandhiji broke the salt law. Gandhiji broke the salt law at Dandi in Gujarat. In which state is Nahar Katya oil field located? Nahar Katya oil field is located in the state of Assam. Name the state where Talcher major coal mines are located. Talcher major coal mines are located in the state of Odisha. Name the state where Narora nuclear power plant is located. Narora nuclear power plant is located in the state of Uttar Pradesh. In which state is Tuticorin seaport located? Tuticorin seaport is located in the state of Tamil Nadu. And with that, we come to the end of our 2024 social science solved paper. This is Kunal Kohli thanking you for tuning in. And of course, we have many more papers of many years, so stay with us.